To cover it in three different videos. The first video is going to be about the value of options, which has different components, which is the exercise value, which is related to the underlying spot price. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about option moneyness, which is also related to the exercise value. And then we'll talk about the time value of the option as well. So this is going to be our first video. In the second video, we're going to talk about the arbitrage and replication concepts applied to options. And in the third video, we'll talk about the other factors that affect the option value in addition to the underlying spot price. So this reading is going to cover the exercise value, moneyness and time value of option, which is something we're going to discuss in this first video. Arbitrage and replication concepts applied to options will be discussed in the second video, and factors affecting the value of an option will be discussed in the third video. Now, let me just talk a little bit about what an option is for those of us who might not remember it. So let's say we have a call option. Now the beauty of a call option is that it gives us the right but no obligation to buy a certain asset at a certain price. So call option gives us the right but no obligation to buy an asset at a given price. Now let's take the example of a share of Tesla, and let's say the price at which we can buy is $1,000. And the share price, the spot price actually goes up to $2,000. Now let me show this on a graph to you. So let's say this is the share price of Tesla, and this is $1,000, and this is $2,000. And when it goes from 1,000 to 2,000, our profit on this side, let's say this is our profit, it will go to $1,000. Why? Because we can buy at 1,000 and sell at 2,000, because we have the right to buy it at $1,000. So this is good for us. What's even better is that if, let's say, the price of Tesla falls below 1,000, let's say it goes to $200, now there's no loss for us. Why there is no loss for us? Because we have the right but no obligation to buy. So what we will do, we will not buy. So we will have no profit, no loss. We're not going to buy at 1,000 or below 1,000, right? Because I mean, why will we want to buy something for 1,000 when it's available in the market for 200? But if it goes up in the market for 2,000, then we will want to exercise our right, buy it at 1,000 and then sell it at a higher price. So what you see over here is a non-linear relationship. I mean, it's not linear because there's a line here, but then that line doesn't continue downwards, it is flat. So this is what we call non-linear, or another word for this is asymmetric. And that is what is explained over here, that options have a non-linear or asymmetric payoff, because the upside is there, but the downside is limited, right? And this is the beauty of an option. By the way, what we just calculated, the difference between the $2,000 minus the $1,000 is what is called your exercise value, which is basically the spot price of the asset minus the exercise price, at which is basically the right, which is the price at which you have the right to buy. Now this is for a call option, which gives you the right to buy. If we were talking about a put option, it would be a little bit different, because that gives you the right to sell. So in that scenario, this X and S will be reversed. Because if, let's say, for example, you have the right to sell at 1,000, then naturally you will be happy if the spot price goes down to 200, because then you can buy low and sell high. But we'll discuss that in more detail later on. Moneyness is also a concept we will discuss in more detail in subsequent slides. It basically means that when you are in good profits, then what we say is the option is in the money, and when you are not in good profits, we say the option is out of the money. And we will discuss that in detail in a subsequent slide. Time value of the option is something we're going to talk about in detail as well in a separate slide. I'll just give you a little bit of an introduction that let's say this option is worth $1,000 as we speak. Why? Because the stock is in the market for 2000, it has an exercise price of 1000, then easily you can book a profit of 1000. But you might see that in the market this option is trading for more than its exercise value, maybe 1020. So that little bit additional amount, why it is there is because maybe the option hasn't expired yet. There might be 1 or 2 months left for its expiry, which means it can still go up further. So because there is some time remaining in the option's expiration, it has some time value, and this is a concept we will talk about in detail. By the way, before we do that, let me just re-emphasize on the difference between American options and European options. American options can be exercised anytime. So let's say you have this Tesla option which gives you the right to buy at 1000 and the market price goes up to 2000 and you see this nice sweet profit of 1000 that you can book. If it is an American option, you can book that profit immediately. It can be exercised anytime. If it is a European option, you cannot do anything. You might see that profit, but you won't be able to take it. You have to wait till the option expires and then only you can be exercising it at maturity. For the purpose of this reading, we're going to be focusing on European options only. Now, I told you about call options, right? Where you will be happy if the spot price goes above your exercise price, right? And you won't be sad if it goes below because your loss is limited. For put options, you have the right to sell. Call options give you the right to buy. Put options give you the right to sell, which means if you have the right to sell at 1000 and the stock price goes to $200, you will be happy. Your profit will be $800. Why? Because you can sell at 1000. You have the right to sell at $1000 and it's available in the market, so you can buy it for 200 and sell at 1000, which means you can book this profit of $800. So the difference between call options and put options is that for call options, to calculate the profit, we take the spot price and we minus the exercise price. And if the spot price is more than the exercise price, it will give us a profit. But whereas for put options, we take the exercise price and we minus the spot price. And here, for it to be in profit, the spot price should be less than the exercise price. And that is what you see in these two formulas, that for a call option, the payoff is given by S minus X, whereas for a put option, the payoff is given by X minus S. So here you have X minus S, whereas here you have S minus X. And why maximum of both? Because we know that over here, the profit is going to be there if it goes up, but there is no loss, right? The loss is limited because nobody is going to force you to buy it at 1000. And with the put option also, the profit is there if the stock price comes down, but there is no loss if it goes up. So it is either 0 or more than 0. So whatever is the maximum of those two, it doesn't go in negative. And this is the beauty of an option. Now, this is, so far we've been talking about the exercise value, which is the difference between S and X for a call option and X and S for a put option. But there is also time value, which means if there is still time before the option expires, then there is still potential for the stock price to move in the desired direction, right? So apart from the exercise value, an options value can also be derived from the time value, that if there is still time left before the expiration of the option and the underlying asset is volatile, which means the price can move. So let's say the spot price of Tesla is 1000 and the exercise price is also 1000, and currently the exercise value is 0. But we still have 2 months remaining till the option expires, and this option is trading in the market for, let's say, $20. Why it's trading for $20 and not 0 is because there is still time till it expires, and possibly because Tesla is a relatively volatile stock, just giving an example. So that might be possible that it might shoot up, right, within the next 2 months. So therefore there is still some value in this option, even though currently it is not in the money. Currently the S is not more than X, but there is still 2 months left till the expiry, and it is possible that it might become profitable, especially if the underlying asset is volatile. Now, all of this discussion we are talking about when the option expires. So let's say it expires and you can now book this profit. It expires and the spot price is 2000 when it expires and your exercise price is 1000, so you can book this profit. But what if it hasn't expired yet? What if you're somewhere during the life of the option? Let's say you started here and it's a 1 year option and you're somewhere in the middle right now, halfway through. Let's say you're at 6 months or 0.5 year. So how do you calculate the value at this point? If the spot price is 2000 right now and the exercise price is 1000, but you can only exercise that at the end of the period, so we need to basically discount this back to today. So how do we bring back this exercise price back to today? We just divide it by 1 plus R to the power big T minus small t, and this is big T and this is small t, right? So you basically need to find out what is the remaining duration, so big T minus small t, and this is how you will bring the exercise price back to today. And that is what you see over here in this formula, that you've got S minus X, but the only difference is X is being discounted back to today for a call option, whereas for a put option you have X minus S, but X again is being discounted back to today. And what is today? It is big T minus small t. Now let's look at an example. Let's say there is a 1 year put option. Now the first thing you should do is when you see put option, you should immediately know this is going to be X minus S, right? And exercise price is 1000, so 1000 minus the spot price is 990. So naturally it is in the money, but we need to discount this 1000. How much? What is the date right now? We are halfway through. So 6 months is left. So we are basically going to need to discount it based on the 1% rate, which will be 1.01, and it will be big T minus small t, and that will be 0.5. And let's look at the solution. So that is exactly what we see over here. It is 1000 divided by 1.01 to the power 0.5 minus 950, and that comes to 45.04, and this is what we call the exercise value. Now it is possible the option might be trading at in the market for a little bit more than this right now, and the reason is because there might be some time value as well, which we will discuss in subsequent slides. But so far what we have calculated is the exercise value of this put option based on the current spot price. How is this similar to forwards? Forwards also we calculate the value like this, that we take the spot price for a long position, we will take S and we minus whatever future price we have got, but we take the present value of that, and we were also discounting it based on the same concept. So this is very similar to forwards as far as the upside is concerned. Upside is same for both almost, but downside is not same, because options have a limited downside, whereas futures have a linear upside and a linear downside, whereas options have a non-linear. Their downside is limited, and that is because you are paying a premium for the option. And how that looks practically is that a future will look like this. Let's say you get into a future or a forward for a Tesla, and if it's going up, you're getting a profit. If it is going down, you're getting a loss, right? So it's a linear situation in a future or a forward. Whereas in an option, you will have an upside but a limited downside. But this downside is not actually going to be limited at zero. If you see it practically, it is going to have a little bit amount depending on whatever you paid for the option premium. Let's say you paid $10, so your loss is at $10 because that premium you have paid. And the profit first has to compensate for that $10, and then it goes into profit. So you have an unlimited upside and you have a limited downside, but there is still that premium that you have paid. which is being ignored in this comparison, right? That they are saying, oh, it is completely similar to the forward because both have same upsides. They do have same upside. It's just that little bit difference is there because you're paying the premium in the option. So you're starting off with a little negative amount, and first you need to cover that, and then you're in profits. Whereas with the forward, you're immediately in profit as soon as the spot price is more than your exercise price. But with the forward, the downside is there, whereas with the option, the downside is controlled, it's limited. Now, what is the concept of moneyness? So let's say again with the call option of Tesla, if the price, let's say, goes to 1,100 and we have an option to buy at 1,000, then it is in a profit of $10. We will say this option is in the money, right? If let's say the spot price goes to 2,000 and we have a right to buy at 1,000 and our profit goes from just $100, it goes to $1,000, we will say this is deep in the money. And if let's say, for example, it is below 1,000, it is at 900 and we have a right to buy for 1,000, naturally we're not going to buy, so it will be worth 0 and we will say it is out of the money. And for example, if it goes to $200 and we have a right to buy at 1,000, naturally we are not going to buy, it will be worth 0, and this is what we call deep out of the money. So this is the concept of moneyness, where you've got the relationship between the underlying asset price and your exercise price, so basically S and X, and how much profit would result or loss would result if the option is exercised. And naturally, if it is going to result in a positive payoff, then what we say is the option is in the money. If it would result in a loss or 0, then we will say it is out of the money, right? Well, actually, if it is exactly at 1,000, then the term is at the money. In this situation, we will say it is at the money. It's not having a profit or a loss. It's called at the money. So if immediate exercise would result in neither a gain nor a loss, then the option is at the money. So if in the case of a call option, if the spot price is greater than the exercise price, the option is in the money. But in the case of a put option, it has to be the other way around, that if you have the right to sell at 1,000, you will be happy if it falls to 200, because then you can sell at 1,000 and buy at 200, right? So naturally you will want the spot price to be less than the exercise price in the case of a put option. So for a put option to be in the money, S should be less than X, whereas for a call option to be in the money, S should be more than X. If they are equal, then it is at the money, and if it is less in the case of a call option, then it is out of the money, and if exercise price is less, then it is going to be out of the money. So this moneyness is used to compare options on the same underlying but with different exercise prices or times to maturity. Now what that means is that you might have different options on the same asset. Let's say for Tesla shares, you might have different options. Now some of those options might be in the money, some of those might be out of the money, depending on their exercise prices. So let's say Tesla share is at $1,500 right now. There might be an option to buy at 1,000. That's going to be in the money because it's less than the spot price. There might be another option to buy at 2,000, and that is out of the money because the spot price is actually at 1,500 right now. So depending on the exercise price or the times to maturity, that means how much time is remaining before the option expires. So depending on these two things, options might be in the money or out of the money, even though the underlying asset might be the same. And there is a degree of being in the money. There is something known as deep in the money, and there is something known as deep out of the money. And what that impacts on the share price is that, let's say for example, if an option is deep in the money, that it is at the spot price is at 2000 and you have a right to purchase at 1000. So this is something which is deep in the money. Every dollar that the spot price goes up, it is going to impact the value. So currently the value will be somewhere more than $1000 because there will be a time value as well. And let's say this goes up to $2001. Immediately this will also go up by $1. Every dollar of change in the spot price is going to reflect in the option value because the option is now deep in the money, and as it is going up it is taking the option value with it. But let's say if it is deep out of the money, that it is at 200 and you have a right to buy at 1000, so even if it goes to 200, from 200 to it goes to 201, it's really not going to make that much of a difference to the option value, practically speaking, in the market, because I mean the market is going to say okay, from 200 it's come to 201, but it's still far away from 1000, right? When it gets close to 1000 and then it comes in the money, and then when it gets deep in the money, then the relationship between the value of the option will become very very closely associated with the value of the underlying asset. But if it is deep out of the money, then it is less sensitive to the changes in price of the underlying. The value of the option is less sensitive to changes in price of the underlying asset. Let's look at an example over here. Let's say we have a put option with 6 months remaining and the exercise price is 1000. And remember, this is a put option, so immediately you should think x minus s. Exercise price is 1000, spot price currently is 950, 6 months still remaining, so naturally we need to discount this. 1 divided by 1 plus r t minus t, and then we'll be able to calculate exactly what is the exercise value. So let's have a look at the solution. So they have actually told us that given the spot price is below the exercise price, the put option is in the money by 50 euros, which is just the difference between 1000 and 950. Now, time value of money, and what this means is that sometimes there might be an exercise value of $50, or even after discounting it might come to, let's say, 45 something, but in the market the option might be trading for a little bit more. Let's say it's trading for 60, and the reason is that because there is a premium on this option is because it has a time value. Since the option has not expired yet, there is still possibility that the spot price might go up even more, and that gives it a time value of money. But as the option gets closer and closer to its expiration, this time value goes down to 0, and this is known as time value decay. That as the option gets closer to its expiration, the time value becomes 0, and this is known as time value decay. Now let me show you an example. Now again, we've got this 1 year put option with 6 months remaining. So put option means x minus s, and x over here is $1000, s is right now 950, and because 6 months remaining, we are going to discount this with r 1 plus r and t minus t. And let's say this comes to, they've given us the amount that it has an exercise value of euros 45.04, and it is currently trading in the market for 50. That means this difference between 50 and 45.04, this is the time value of this option. And that is exactly what you see in the solution over here, that the put option is currently in the market for 50. The exercise value is 45.04. Therefore, the remaining amount of 4.96 must be the time value of this option.
ஒன் டே டு கோன்னு டிக்கெட் காமிச்சு ஐயே அப்படியான்னு சொல்லி நானே அப்பதான் பார்த்தேன்.